welcome along to In the Loop, the weekly theme park news show from Park Rush. I'm Tom, and I'm joined by Josh.
Hello there.
Hi, Josh. How's it going?
Good, thank you. Yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. Delighted to be here, as ever. You were talking smack about pop vinyl at the start of
Ouch.
last week's show,
Yeah,
Josh,
yeah.
which I think is broadly fair enough. However, I did want to offer potentially two opportunities for you to at least partly change your mind.
Oh, here we go.
So, I mean, if these aren't going to do it for you, I'm not quite sure what is, but I'm delighted.
Oh, bum, bada, bum, 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 bum. Whoa.
to Introduce 50th anniversary Disney World Fella Magic Mickey.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
He's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Ah, you're telling me you still don't like pop vinyls?
I think it's more the culture around pop vinyls. I mean, I'm not going to buy one, but the culture around pop vinyls is what does it for me. The people keeping them in boxes. Ugh. Get them out, play with them. They're toys, for damn sake.
So, yeah, no, I kind of agree with you there. These all come straight out the boxes, specifically
Oh, that's good.
so I can play with them, Josh. I regularly get distracted whenever I'm working from home at my desk and just play Choo Choo with my pop vinyl people mover.
That's great. That is a good
It's
one.
pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are 4 of these bad boys. Look, and you can sort of hook them together with that there.
And you only got the one though.
I've only got the one because my rule with pop vinyl to stop myself from having an outrageous collection is to only ever pick one up if I see one I like out in the wild.
Okay.
Genuinely sort of catches my attention. I don't seek them out online or anything like
I
that.
like that. Yeah. It's like me with movie trailers.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, if you're new here, hello, welcome. If you're new to Park Rush in general, we are a weekly theme park podcast. We've been running since 2018, but as the podcast has pivoted more towards trip reports and other such features since we've actually been allowed to leave this godforsaken country, we've kind of been leaving a lot of news on the cutting room floor, and that's where In the Loop comes in. So each week we'll pick 3 stories and ideally some sort of rumour or other juicy tidbit to discuss between the two of us, and sometimes with an esteemed guest. If you enjoy the show, please do subscribe and hit that like button. And if you want more, you can find the podcast at parkrush.com or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us across our various socials at links.parkrush.com. And if you want to get in touch, the best thing to do is email us, podcast@parkrush.com. I guess you can leave a comment down below as well, but it's my understanding from years of being on YouTube that those are mostly reserved for abuse. So maybe just leave it.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. So we talk about some theme park news.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, I'm delighted to start with something that will lift everyone's spirits. Disney Genie Plus.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. Disney Genie Plus. Now, I mean, everyone knows by this point, surely, that this is the replacement or was the replacement for FastPass.
Yep.
I got to experience it firsthand when I was at Disney World in April and May.
Lucky you.
It's a bit of a faff, Josh. Never spent so much time on my phone as I did trying to manage the day at Disney World parks. It was kind of nightmarish. But Disney World have basically made a few changes to the rides that are available on Genie Plus. So I think the easiest way of just quickly getting kind of explaining the basics here is that Genie Plus is a way through paying each day for you to basically be able to get the fast pass benefits that you previously got for free.
Yeah.
You can book time slots to go to certain rides and skip the queue, but you don't have to pay for that.
Perfect.
And then there are some rides which you have to pay for individually, which aren't even covered in the base rate of Genie Plus. And these are your sort of premier individual lightning lane attractions, and these can go up as high as $15 a day.
Oof.
So I hope that's all clear to people. Josh, is it as clear? Is it clear to you? Clear as mud, I hope.
Clear as mud. Yeah. Love it. Sign me
Excellent.
up.
Yeah. I mean, this was kind of number one on your list of why you didn't want to go to Disney World, basically. It's the fact.
Yeah, I can't be dealing with the faff anymore. Done with it.
No.
So
No,
that's why we do 2 podcasts a week on about theme parks.
Yep. Absolutely. Anyway, the news here, Josh, the changes, or I guess technically the lack of change is the news here, because there are certain attractions which were due to come off the Lightning Lane, or the individual Lightning Lane, on August 7th. So a couple of days ago, as this goes out. And they are instead remaining on there, seemingly indefinitely.
Huh.
So those attractions are Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and Frozen Forever After at Epcot, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So those were all due to come off on August 7th, as reported here by Theme Park Insider. But instead, they're just going to stay on there with no end in sight.
Great.
So there you go. What do you make of it, Josh? I mean, is this the type of thing that you would expect to see more of going forward? Rides that end up being part of this and then just stay on there because it's clearly something that they feel like they can continue to get away with. People are obviously paying up for this, even though you think it's terrible. And I think most people that pay up for it probably think it's terrible as well, but feel like they have no choice.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm not a big fan of the system at all. I think we've discussed this on the podcast, on the regular podcast, and yeah, I think as new rides come in, I think if new rides come in, they'll move these rides to the other system. Maybe not Space Mountain, but if there was to build a new ride at Hollywood Studios, then they'd move Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway off of this system, but. Yeah, it just kind of depends on if it's there's going to be a big draw or anything like that. Really, I think.
Josh, I am an enormous idiot.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, breaking news at this hour. I'm an idiot. Who knew? Truly an exclusive. I've got this completely the wrong way round, Josh.
Oh, okay.
These have been individual lightning lanes.
Yeah. So then,
which have recently been included in the base rate, and it seemed like they were going to go back to being individual, but they're not.
Right,
they're staying in the base rate.
That makes
got
a
it
lot
the wrong
more
way
sense.
round, Josh.
Yeah.
So they have previously, those 4 rides, they've
Yes.
previously been individual.
Yeah.
And now they're not.
Yes.
There you go.
There we go.
Sorry, everyone.
I think
everyone's time.
I still think what they should do is charge an exorbitant amount for the Lightning Lane system, so much so that normal people won't buy it at all, and therefore it basically gets rid of the Lightning Lane system for the most part, and then only the rich people get it. But there's less people that have it every day. Disney can still charge for it. I can still complain that it's an absolute rip-off, but it doesn't affect me as much day to day.
Yeah, so there are only 4 rides at the moment at Disney World that have the individual Lightning Lane. Those are Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios, Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom, the Mine Train at Magic Kingdom, and Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. So there you go.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, I would say, is not worth paying extra money for.
No, I agree. I would agree.
The others maybe. I don't know about Cosmic Rewind. Never been on it. Never been on Rise of Resistance either. But that does look very good. Obviously, Flight of Passage is excellent. I mean, I still wouldn't pay extra money for it, but yeah.
All right. Well, we got there in the end. Clearly, a very trusted source for theme park news.
We're a new show. There's teething issues.
New show trying to prove itself. We've got to make the people know that they can trust us for their news and
break a few lion mark eggs to make an omelette, that sort of thing.
Completely wrong. I'm the professional journalist, Josh. I
Yeah,
mean, this is outrageous.
that's the question. I've been in the pub for the last 8 hours, so
Okay, fine. That's the excuse. Maybe I can also claim to have been in the pub for 8 hours. All right, let's move on. We'll stay with Theme Park Insider. Josh, maybe you should read this. SeaWorld reports record revenue. I think that means it's made more money than ever before. But do you want to confirm this just in case I'm not completely wrong and they've actually made less money than
yeah.
ever before?
SeaWorld has posted a revenue of Jesus, I can't even do it now. $504.8 million in the 3-month period between June 30th, ending in June 30th, sorry. And it's been a 14.8% increase for the second quarter of 2021 and up 24.3% from the same period in 2019, which was obviously the last proper period before the pandemic. So it's looking like, a record quarter when you adjust for inflation and that sort of thing as well. So considering what we've been talking about on the podcast about how SeaWorld and Busch Gardens are not looking as good as they have done previously, apparently it doesn't bother them so much. They're doing really well.
Yeah, this is surprising to me in a sense because you're absolutely right. The trip reports we've done recently from my time at SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, I think the running theme has been there are signs of cost cutting absolutely everywhere. And, perhaps the most egregious example of how they haven't necessarily been passing those clear cost cutting measures on to guests is how the food prices have gone up and they have shamelessly been putting in tiny print on various menus and displays at the kiosks where you get food and drink, basically saying, hey, there's a surcharge at the moment. And the excuse being that, things are expensive right now. And that's why we've got to do this. Again, as I've said previously on those trip reports, the entry fees for these parks are much cheaper than the other Florida theme parks, Disney and Universal, and there are some good deals to be had on multi-day tickets and things like that. But once you're actually in the parks, I think those lower prices, frankly, are reflected in the overall experience. There are, I think, definitely signs that they've cut back, cut corners, and I think I said about both on the Trip Report podcasts. If you'd told me they'd only reopened from COVID about a month before I got there, I would have believed you.
Yeah.
So I think these kind of big numbers here may well rub some people the wrong way, because I definitely think that whilst both parks have had some good additions in the last few years in terms of their roller coaster lineups, I still can't help but feel as though the overall guest experience is not where it was previously. I think they have regressed in that regard. And so I think these kind of big old numbers will, as I say, rub some people the wrong way. But this is how it's going across the board in all industries, Josh. Everyone's constantly being told how tough times are going to be, or how tough they are now and how they're going to get worse. And yet you look around and the big corporations and the men in suits, they're doing just fine. This is just another example of that. You turn up to SeaWorld and as a guest, you're told, oh, things are tough right now. That's why your burger's $2 more expensive.
Yeah.
And then you read these results and the people at the top of SeaWorld are doing just fine. In fact, they're doing better than ever.
I think,
outrageous.
You talk about that $2 more expensive. In-park guest spending increased by an average of 8.2% to a record of 36.
Because prices have gone up 8.2%.
Exactly,
probably.
right? Because they've added that surcharge on, which is basically that 8.2% there, right there. But I think the more interesting one is that the admission revenue increased 5% per capita, so per person. So clearly the price is going up, but people are still willing to spend the money to go to SeaWorld. I guess the cheaper value there incentivizes people to come, and so even if you increase the parks ever so slightly because of the difference between the SeaWorld and the Busch Gardens compared to Universal and Disney in both Florida and California, it means it kind of seems like a good deal.
Yeah, and I think as well it's inevitable that theme parks are going to be among the industries that do post pretty decent results
Yeah,
in 2022, 2021, coming out of COVID, where, of course, these places were closed. And then even when they initially reopened, I think you just saw a lot of people who were unwilling to dedicate their sort of leisure budget, if you like, to something where they maybe felt unsafe or maybe felt like they might expose themselves to COVID, especially before they were vaccinated. Whereas now, I think that those kinds of people who maybe during the lockdowns were saving money, or if they were spending it, they were spending it on stuff like movies on demand at home or video games. They are now perhaps a little bit more willing to spend it on going out, and theme parks will be part of that, I suppose. But yeah, still rubs me the wrong way. Someone who walks around SeaWorld thinking, this feels a bit cheap. They are raking it in.
yeah. They've also just announced that they're going to buy a further $250 million worth of their shares, like in the buyback authorization. So that's kind of going to stabilize the stock price there, which could do favors for things like wage increases and that sort of thing. But we'll have to see how that all works out in the end.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, well, let's get out of sunny Florida and head over to Japan. Still too soon for me to talk about Japanese theme parks because I'm still bitter that I haven't yet got over there. Damn you, COVID.
Damn you, COVID. Same. One day.
One day, one day. And that one day, when it comes, hopefully, will be post the opening of this Studio Ghibli theme park, which would not have been there had our 2020 trip gone ahead.
It's true.
But it is now due to open in November of this coming year. And a colourful new trailer has been released, which comes to us via Blue Loop. Josh, you went on a real kick of watching all those Ghibli films in the build-up to what should have been our Japan trip.
Sure did.
So, and you enjoyed, I think, the vast majority of them very
Good
much
fun.
indeed. Yeah. What do you make of this trailer? I mean, it's short and sweet, but as ever, the animation style is chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's clearly obviously Studio Ghibli. It's a cool art style. I really like it. I don't think it really. I mean, I don't read any of the Japanese that's on there, but it looks kind of cool. I don't know how or what this attraction is going to look like in real life. The trailer doesn't really give that away, but yeah.
I think the Japanese says Park Rush for all your theme park needs.
Yeah, I think so. Make sure to subscribe so you can catch the vlog every Thursday.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah.
They've also put out some new pictures of some of the lands at the park, which are also in this article. These look great. I mean, they haven't really said much from what I can tell, at least not in this slate of new images about sort of specific attractions. Well, I'm almost getting a sort of Efteling fairy tale forest vibe from some of this. Like, will you almost be walking through scenes from films that you recognize and kind of sets and little dioramas and things like that?
Yes.
I think that would be a pretty great way of representing the work of the studio, actually, in some quarters more so than a ride, as a way of kind of immersing yourself in those worlds and those stories.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're going to do rides, I think they've got to be dark rides. Fits this sort of thing perfectly. But yeah, the kind of fantasy land, fantasy walkthrough is a really cool way of doing this, I think, and be well up for that.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite interesting. They're going for a sort of phased approach to the opening. So the first 3 themed lands are going to be opening in November, as I say. Those are Ghibli's Grand Warehouse, Dondoko Forest, and Hill of Youth. And then you're going to get Mononoke Village and the Valley of Witches in the fall of 2023. And then in March 2024.
Okay.
For the 2 of those.
Yeah.
We'll be at war. We'll all be on the front line in Taiwan by then. So unfortunately, I don't think anyone will get to visit the Valley of Witches. But I don't know. Maybe I'll be proven wrong.
Yeah.
I can dream. Tickets are going on sale in August. and it's going to have a daily attendance cap, and that
Yeah,
seems like it's going to be a blanket policy. That's not a COVID thing. That's
yeah.
just how it's going to be.
Ghibli already does that, right? Because they've got like a museum already that
Yeah.
has an attendance cap. There's a very strict attendance cap. It's you have to book years in advance, I think, to get in there for the most part.
Wow,
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
maybe there's a big fan base out there, certainly in Japan, but worldwide for Studio Ghibli. So I think it'll be tough to get into here as well once it opens.
Yeah, absolutely. It may be something I have to admire from afar via other people's vlogs and things.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are your 3 news stories for the week. One of them obviously butchered horribly, but as I say, we got there in the end. Normally, we would then head to the rumour mill,
Ooh.
but haven't really seen anything that's particularly caught my eye this week so far as kind of unsubstantiated but exciting gossip goes. So instead, it's got a little sort of morsel, like a little bonus for you here. And this comes to us via screamscape.com, which is always good for kind of little morsels of news that might pass you by. This regards a new kind of butterbeer, which apparently makes it the 7th variant of butterbeer at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter locations.
Yes.
And as you say, Josh, before we started recording, I had no idea that there were as many as 6. In
No.
my mind, there was frozen, normal, and I was aware that like hot butterbeer had become a thing. So what the other 3 were, I wasn't too sure. Although having now kind of read what Screamscape considers to be the other 3, I almost feel like it's cheating a bit. I was kind of thinking, oh wait, so there are like 6 versions of butterbeer as a drink, but no, they are in fact including butterbeer ice cream, butterbeer fudge, and butterbeer potted cream.
Potted cream.
So that's how you get to your 6.
Is that like clotted cream? Is that like butterbeer flavoured clotted cream? I don't know. I've never heard of potted cream.
No, I can't imagine just eating clotted cream. I'd want that on something, right? Like a scone.
I mean, I can just eat clotted cream, but I'm an animal, so.
Oh, right. Fair. Okay. So what you were doing at the pub today, you weren't on the beers, you were just on the clotted cream.
Just clotted cream all day. Eating it up.
Just pints of clotted cream.
Hello there. Could I have a pint of clotted cream, please? And a long spoon.
Please ask next time you're there. Please ask.
Well, what on earth are you on about?
But what if they said, yeah, of course?
Yeah, no worries. Let me get it out the back.
Go to the fridge. Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely. Do you want it in a saucer? So what do you reckon then, Josh? I mean, clearly you know, but if I'd asked you before you read this, what do you reckon is the new form of butterbeer? What would you have kind of guessed it might have been? And was it this? Was it what they have actually done?
It wouldn't be this because I didn't realise. I guess I didn't really think about. It makes sense, obviously, what this when you think about it, but I didn't realise because butterbeer is not a real thing. But I wouldn't say vegan butterbeer. I would say I don't know some sort of butterbeer pastry maybe.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, with some clotted cream.
Yeah. Well, vegan butterbeer, Josh.
Vegan
Just
butterbeer.
another sign of woke culture
Wow.
ruining people's lives. We even have to accommodate the vegans. Want a butterbeer now? It's not. No, this sounds good. I mean, like Screamscape says, it's unclear exactly what makes it vegan. You know, are they just getting rid of the foamy top, or is there something more fundamental that they have to do? I've no idea. But look, can't complain about more options that let more people enjoy the butterbeer, even though I actually don't particularly love the butterbeer as a drink. I have enjoyed the butterbeer ice cream in the past. I've never tried the fudge, but kind of wish I had. I do like fudge. Fudge sounds potentially good.
Butterbeer is not alcoholic, right? I feel like an alcoholic butterbeer should be on the cards, but
yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're going to make liquor, if you're going to make alcoholic
Oh,
butterbeer, I feel like those Liquor 43 milkshakes that I do, not a bad starting point for that.
no, yeah. If you're gonna go anywhere, right, start there.
Chuck some Liquor 43 in your butterbeer. I reckon that would do.
Tom's gonna be smuggling in a little snifter of Liquor 43 to throw in his butterbeer.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Living the life.
Well, I can't won't be getting to Florida anytime soon, but maybe I'll try and get back to the Warner Brothers studio tour and get a butterbeer there and just, chuck some Liquor 43 in that bad boy.
I still
See
need to
how
do
it
that.
goes. That's a good time.
Yeah.
Good time. 5th date, maybe, Josh, eh?
Oi. Easy.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all, Josh, unless you have anything to add about vegan butterbeer.
No, I mean, it's quite good to have a vegan option on there. I didn't actually realise, didn't even think that it wouldn't be vegan in the first place, because it's obviously butterbeer is not a real thing, but I guess that makes sense when you think about it, that it does have butter in the name. So, yeah, vegan. Maybe they're using a Marge beer. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Margarine beer.
Ugh.
Very nice.
Stork or
Gross.
something. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that is going to do it for this week's instalment of In the Loop. I can only apologise for what's a very unconvincing rundown of theme park news, given that we started with a story that I got completely wrong. But we turned it round, we got there in the end, and I hope you enjoyed the show. As I said at the top, if you did, then please do consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. That would be great. And of course, we always welcome more listeners to the main podcast, which comes out every Monday. You can find it at parkrush.com or on your preferred podcasting app. I think that's going to do it, really. We'll be back next week with another In the Loop and another Park Rush podcast next Monday. If you haven't caught this week's yet, it is a trip report from Universal City Walk with the help of friend of the show, Pastor John Self. It's a good listen, so check it out if you haven't yet. We'll be back next week. We'll see you then. Stay safe out there, everyone. Goodbye.
See ya.